We really need to start off this review by stating something that is deeply obvious. Bloodwake is a whole hell of a lot like Crimson Skies. Admittedly, Xbox players wouldn't become familiar with it until High Road to Revenge came out a few years later, but Bloodwake takes a lot of cues from the PC version. Apparently, Crimson Skies on Water was the direction that Microsoft had given the developers to take, and it definitely shows. The problem is that these days, you could just go play Crimson Skies, which does almost everything that Bloodwake does far better than it does. That's not to say that Bloodwake is bad by any means, it just comes across as a pretty basic arena combat game, in the lineage of games like Twisted Metal. In pure combat scenarios, it can end up feeling pretty damn good. The weapon selection is definitely there, and even though the boat handling can be insufferable from time to time, I still had a lot of fun with it. But already at this point, people were starting to expect a lot more than pure gameplay from their games. I don't mean to harp on the Crimson Skies comparisons, but they're impossible to avoid. The segments in that game that you spend roaming around the world and picking up missions, talking to people over the radio, really make the world come alive and help you to understand better the world that you're in. Most importantly, it makes Crimson Skies feel like more than just a series of isolated combat arenas. You never get anything similar out of Bloodwake, and it does just feel like that isolated series of combat arenas. The story mode feels tacked on at best. It does attempt to create a world and tell a story, and there are interludes between each mission that don't even have cutscenes and are just a slideshow of still images with really terrible voice acting going on in the background. And the objectives you'll have to complete are just as bland and generic, ranging from shoot everything in sight, to grab something from this specific area on the map, to do both. The campaign does manage to mix things up with regards to what you're doing in combat, introducing new boats and new weapons throughout the campaign, but while I usually found the combat fun, especially when in open water, the game often forces you into constricted areas that make maneuvering difficult. When it comes to how the boats control on the water, it's clear that Bloodwake very much wants to be Twisted Metal, but the problem is that boats just behave differently. There's no sharp cornering in a boat, for example. I often found myself going the wrong way and having to slowly maneuver my boat back around into position, or stuck in a corner somewhere, facing a cliffside and unable to do anything. And if we revisit the Crimson Skies comparisons once again, it feels even worse. It's easy sometimes to lose track of your target in Crimson Skies, but there's always a way to flip back around quickly, to turn and once again face your enemy. Even that simple task is a laborious one in Bloodwake. Bloodwake is certainly a unique beast. Stuck between Twisted Metal and Crimson Skies, it managed to carve out its own unique niche on the original Xbox for a few years, but has been rapidly forgotten thanks to the subsequent release of High Road to Revenge. While its boat-based combat is certainly unique, its world and clunky controls drag it down. This would have been a game ripe for an improved sequel later on in the Xbox's lifecycle, or even early on with the 360, but that never materialized or never had any hope of doing so, sadly. In my retro reviews, I look at games that are at least 10 years old, what I would consider to be retro, and I see if they're still worth playing now, if they've managed to survive the test of time. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.